We'll wait till 10:01 and then I will start the introduction.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's 10:01 and people are joining. So meanwhile, I'll start the session. So, hello everyone. Good morning from India. I'm Shikha Singh, volunteering as Vice President Professional Development at PMI Mumbai chapter. I hold a BE in Production Engineering from Mumbai University, Green Belt in Lean Six Sigma, and PMP certified from PMI. Professionally, I'm working at LRQ Inspection Services India LLP at Mumbai and having over 18 plus years of experience in operations of inspection services and right now handling global projects. So I welcome everyone for today's PM Forum session. And people, please note that today is my last hosting session as VP Professional Development at PMI Mumbai chapter since I am stepping down from board position for some other personal and professional commitments and hence passing the baton to next elected VP Professional Development Renu Mehta with effect from 1st April. So I met Renu Mehta 2 years before when she joined my membership team at PMI Mumbai chapter as AVP membership when I was VP membership, and now I'm really happy that she will be taking over professional development portfolio from me. So I welcome Renu Mehta and will request her to please provide her short introduction and start the session, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shikha, and hello and namaste to everyone. So this is Renu Mehta, and yes, I worked for 2 years with as a into the membership portfolio. Some of you might be knowing me. I had been taking inductions and all. So professionally, I am also PMP certified. I have been working with IT industry for last 20 years. Now I am on a break and maybe a transitioning period. I also volunteer for WOW WEC. The WOW stands for Women of Wonders. So I also volunteer for WOW WEC, an initiative by PMI Mumbai chapter exclusively for women. I am also volunteering for PMI South Asia again under this WEC committee, that is Women Engagement Committee. So this was a short introduction from my side, and good morning and welcome to all of you once again. So let's start with quickly. Let me just give me a second, and I will share my screen with you. And I hope you are able to see my screen. Okay. Uh, Now, before we start, let's have a quick look at the agenda. So we have introduction, we have the speaker session, we have today great speaker Mitakshara from us. So I will introduce her in a short while. Now, before we actually start, I just want some of you might be, first time attending it. So I will just give a quick intro on this PM forum. Okay. So PM forums are a format used by PMI Management Institute chapters for discussing and networking among project professionals. PM forums can be also, valuable to stay up to date on industry trends. So we keep on, having engaging speakers over here, time and again. So every month we have it so that you learn something from what is lit in the latest industry and all. Learn new techniques, build relationships and with other project managers. So that's a short intro on the PM forum. Okay. Let's move to quickly. Now I introduce Mitakshara. So she's a corporate trainer, growth coach. and a tarot consultant. She conducts workshops for a corporate in the domain of project management, operational excellence, and associated areas to enhance workplace productivity. So, as a coach, she guides working professionals and business owners using a combination of, her knowledge on the NLP, on the tarot, and the management concepts. She has also mentored, entrepreneurs in areas of business operations, and her core approach, is to enable transformation within for overall sustainability growth. So this was a short introduction of Mitakshara. There must be many more, but this is a very short introduction, I would say. So welcome, Mitasha. I hand it over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shikha, and thank you, Renu. And it's a pleasure. And sometimes, yesterday I was thinking that before I start the session, what kind of thoughts I should have because it's my second session when Shikha was on board. And so today it's like her parting session and a welcome session, which I would be presenting to Renu because this is the first session I would be giving to Renu, through Renu actually. So my last session was a unique concept where the desire was generated within PMI that we should have something unique. And there I had presented the concept of tarot for conflict management and leadership enhancement. Of course, the video is there on the PMI chapter's YouTube channel. You can go through that along with this video, which will be published later. So thank you so much, Renu. I'll start. And before that, let me share with you that I got my PMP in 2018, just a little while before the version 5 was about to get obsolete and version 6 was going to come in. And yes, I mean, that was one of my goals that time that look, if I have undergone a PMP workshop, which was sponsored by our organization for every project manager within the team. They also said that if you pass the exam and if you are able to come up with your scores, then we'll reimburse your fees. I said, fine, let me take this. And frankly speaking, if you really ask me, was becoming a PMP certified person was my goal. Now, when I look back, I never had that intention, but that is something which came up. And I made it my goal that now I want to clear this exam and let's see where it takes me. Now, today's session on goal setting is exactly on that. We will not be speaking too much on the organizational goals as such, but we will be looking at holistic life goals and what you need to think, what you need to feel from within so that you can set the right meaningful goals which are making sense to first you rather than being under the pressure from the peers, from the competitors, from others all around you see. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a moment. Okay. A quick introduction about me, apart from, in addition to what Renu has mentioned. So, yes, I'm a botany postgraduate, did my PGDM in biotechnology and biotechnology management with the specialization of marketing. And throughout my 8 years of corporate career, predominantly in the pharmaceutical segment, in the pharmaceutical sector, I got to learn a lot. And then when PMP happened, it was a time for me to move out of the corporate sector. So I've been as an independent professional since the past 7 almost years, actually from December 2018, where I started off as a consultant. I've been a tarot consultant since then as well. And also I give consultancy for business operations and project management frameworks for smaller organizations. And I've also been a corporate trainer in the same domain. And yes, 2019 was my earning and learning where I went in depth into neuro-linguistic programming. I also completed my certification from IIM Lucknow for advanced strategic leadership for business excellence. Well, now all this just happened. I never had that goal of, I want an IIM certification. I want to be PMP. All these happened. And that is where, one of the last topic that we will be also looking at is having an agile mindset. Because often what happens that while we are growing, we have certain things in mind. We have certain aims, we have certain aspirations. But as we wade through the current challenging environment around, especially the VUCA world, we get to know that, well, okay, I'm having this goal, but is it really making sense right now? Maybe yes, maybe not. Or is it something else that I need to do before so that I can effectively achieve my end goal later on? And that is exactly what we are going to look at in the balancing act. So, to start with, this is how typically we know of the goal setting process, right? Organizations, when they set their goals, they are aligned with their corporate and business strategy, their mission, vision, and the values, which which actually are born from the purpose of why the organization exists. Okay, so based on that, they've got the long-term goals, they have the mid-term goals, the short-term goals, and based on that, they will have the immediate action plan. What the individuals, what the employees, what the teams are supposed to do right now so that we keep on achieving our goals in the due course of time. And of course, we have heard amply, a lot of time we have heard about the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, and now evaluated and readjusted goals. So instead of smart goals, now it is a smarter goals, which is commonly being talked about. Now we are using the same concept in our own personal life. Because as an individual, we have goals on the professional front, we have goals on the personal front as well. So how do we really maneuver that journey? Because when I started looking at project management, and the definition of a project as per the PMBOK is that project is a temporary endeavor and it has a start and an end. And if we really look at our lives, we also have a start, we also have an end, we have limited time for multiple activities, we have to deal with multiple stakeholders, we are supposed to use our resources effectively. So now I would request all of you to think about it as to how your life is a project in itself, and what are the different types of tasks that you need to complete within your entire lifetime, be it on the professional front, be it on the personal front. So you have to manage multiple things, and in that process, the goal setting becomes equally important, because when we are looking at a certain goal, we cannot really put the other goal to the back burner, can we? Well, sometimes we may have to, we can possibly, but this cannot happen all the time, right? You can't really work on the projects of the organization or your professional front while ignoring your family or health or your financial goals as well, right? So here it is, the life full of goals, because life is a project. And now coming to the process of what we need to do beyond the smarter goals. Okay, so before that, here is a quick activity that I'd request all of you to go through. I'm going to explain what this is. So this is a typical bullseye, or the concentrated effort that we do in coaching specifically. So what you see on the screen is a figure with 10 concentric circles, the innermost circle having the score of 1 and the outermost circle having the score of 10. Now, the lines which I have given here, that is A, B, C, D, these are different parameters or different goals that you could set. It could be anything. For somebody, it could be, let's say, reaching developing a corpus of so and so rupees so that you can have your retirement easy. For some, it could be, I want to quit my job and start my own personal activities. For some, it could be buying a new house. For some, it could be something else, maybe a health goal, or maybe running a marathon, which all of us are seeing, right? Now, what I would like you to do is take some time here. We will be giving 5 minutes for this activity. Take some time here and decide if you have identified certain objectives, certain goals in your life. Take 4 of them right now. Then where do you stand right now with respect to what you really want to achieve? And again, I'd like to say here that whatever score you give from 1 to 10 is extremely subjective. And I will explain that to you later, why it has to be subjective, why my number 1 cannot be same as Shikha's number 1 or number 1 for Renu. My number 10 could be anything else. Now, for example, let's say I want to have my own workspace. Okay. And for me to have my workspace, it could be in a co-working space. I don't want to own an office. For me, going to the level of a co-working space could be at number 10. For somebody else, going to a co-working space is just going to be 6 or 7, because they will say that, hey, I want to have my own freedom. I want to have my own office, which I own, so that I have the flexibility of arranging things and putting stuff the way I want to. So here is where every individual is different. And that's why the numerical value or the weightage that they will give to different goals at different time frames is going to be different. Is this concept clear? So before you really go into the thinking mode, I want to make sure that everyone is clear on this. If you have any doubts, please put in the chat box. I'm opening this and I will be happy to explain this once again. Okay, can I have some response here? Any questions, or are we set to go? All right, no questions. So I believe people are ready to start. So we will be having 5 minutes for this activity. And think about what you really, really want to achieve, what makes sense to you, and why. All right. So start with where you are right now, at what number, at what scale you are right now, and at what scale do you want to achieve within the next 6 months. It can also happen that some might say that, okay, I have this long-term goal. Within the next 6 months, right now I am at level number two, but in the next 6 months, I want to reach at number 7, because that is how I can manage. And do drop a message in the chat box once you are done, because after ensuring that some people have actually done that activity, we can proceed forward. Okay, Mr. Patel has said okay from my side. Done already or still in process? Okay, half time over. Looks like I've put people in a deep thinking process right at the beginning of the webinar right now. People must be thinking, why on Saturday morning she's making us work. Oh, Renu is the opening batsman for this, huh? Done from my side. Okay, cool.
I guess just raise all of you a quick thumbs up if you're done.
Yes, please just okay. Okay, Aparna, one more person done. Wonderful, very nice. Okay, Mayur is saying done. And if anyone wants to share their goals, be open. No compulsion, because you can have secret goals and not want to share to the world till you achieve them. That is also okay. So here we are having a very free environment here. Nobody is going to judge you for not having a particular goal or for having too ambitious goals. Shivani is done too. Wonderful. Great. One more minute and we can continue with this discussions forward. All right. So we start again with the discussions. All right, Abu, good. Udaynath, yes. Many contingencies and external factors from current point to the destination. Absolutely, Claude. This is very, very relevant, a point that you have made, because this is what we are going to actually cover in the next set of slides. Because in the goal setting sessions, we assume certain things, we are anticipating certain things, but we are not aware of what may come. And that's why it is necessary to have an agile mindset rather than having a fixed mindset here. All right. So would anyone like to share any goal over here? No issues. So I've already shared a little bit about my journey. So even I have certain goals of reaching a certain financial level, a certain health level. Health level, I can say that I'm also actually at number 10 right now, as compared to what I was 7 years back. And when it comes to my workspace, well, I'm already at number 7 because I'm in my comfort zone. So this is some of my personal goals which I've shared with you. Now coming to how do you think beyond the smarter goals? So number one is whenever you set any goal, you need to understand why. A lot of coaches give a lot of importance on the question why, because ultimately, unless and until you are completely in synchronization with the why, you will not have that energy to really put your actions in place. The second is you need to understand how does this particular goal fit into your values and beliefs. Okay, and you need to also understand your own journey on your professional and the personal front. How is it that your goals that you set right now will be supporting you on both your professional and your personal fronts? How does it relate with how you have lived your life till now, and what do you want to achieve in the future? You know how the connection with the past influences and future aspirations that I've mentioned here. Now, sometimes people set the goals because they have faced certain circumstances in the past, and they really have this inner drive to improvise their situations no matter what. Their goals can be connected to their past experiences. Their goals can be connected also to the future. That is, in the future, I want to do this, and that again comes back from the past. In the past I've faced this, I do not want to have this situation again, and that's why I want to have a certain goal. People who have come from business families, for example, they may have seen their fathers and grandfathers struggle to put a business in place, and those individuals today might say that, hey, you know what, I have a lot of business history in my family, but now I want to make life better for the organization that they've built, and also to have a good working place for the employees so that they can grow, and they can grow as assets and contribute to the business growth. So there is where you're connecting the past and the future aspirations. Okay. Then you also need to understand that if you have multiple goals, which is often obviously the case, then how are they interlinked with each other, or how they are going to impact each other? So in the beginning, we said that we can't have just one particular goal in our entire lifetime, right? We can't say that, okay, I want to reach the level of being the CEO of an organization where I'm working right now. But in that pursuit, can you just disregard other life goals? Maybe not. So there are some goals which are always going to run in parallel to each other. There are some goals which you can have one after the other after you have achieved. So you need to understand how they are. Are they going to be overlapping? Are they going to be completely parallel, or are they going to come sequentially? Okay. And for that, I'd like to now focus on something called the DILT pyramid. Now, this is something which is very wonderful as a tool for coaching, because I use this personally in my sessions with all my clients. So the DILT pyramid is a 6 to 7 layered pyramid, starting with the purpose at the top and the environment at the bottom. And in between, you have your identity, the values and beliefs as the internal factors, and you have the capabilities, behavior, and the environment on the outside. Now, what happens is, why this is connected with the goal setting process is because if you aim to go to in a certain way, if you aim to reach a particular destination, you will have to wade through the external factors as well. And often what happens, we have to then develop ourselves accordingly. We have to develop certain behavioral traits, or at least develop some skill sets, some talents. We have to improvise our capabilities in order to achieve that goal. For example, let's say somebody says that I want to become a motivational speaker, I want to become a corporate trainer. So obviously, they will have to enhance their skills of communication. They will have to enhance their skills of public speaking. They will have to enhance the skill of content development. So obviously, it is the capabilities that they are building. They will have to have a certain behavior. Means, let's say there's an introvert person and they want to come up and become a public speaker. So they will have to they might have to break out of their shell, because to become a public speaker, for some individuals, it may feel that, yeah, I need to really speak to as many people as possible. Now, that could be a little difficult for an introvert, because introverts and extroverts, they think in a different manner. So here is where we are trying to look at all those factors, starting from purpose to the environment. And in between, we are also focusing on what we are as a person. What do we really believe? Now, there are certain people who believe that, okay, I want to do deep thinking. For that, I need to read a lot of good books, good journals. And for that, I really don't have too much of time to mingle with people and have a lot of networking sessions. Is this person right or wrong? Not at all. Every person comes from a different place. Every person has a different persona. And by the way, when I do tarot consulting, I look at the personas with the help of their birth dates. And this is something which we had covered in the past video as well. Right? So there is where you need to have a connection between what you are as a person, where are you starting at, and where do you want to go, and in between, what is it that you need to tackle. And in this case, in this entire goal setting process, we can very well relate to the triple constraint concept, which we often focus during the PMI preparations, right? PMP preparations. What are the triple constraints? Time, cost, scope of work, and the quality. So how much of time can you spend? How much is the actual work? Do you need to shell out additional resources? Do you need to count extra money for this? And in that, what is the quality of the objective that you are going to achieve, and how well you are going to achieve that objective? All right. So here, after having looked at the Dilts pyramid broadly, we were now going to go back into the goal setting process where we'll be looking at the balancing act. Now, what does the balancing act say? That we need to look at all the available resources that we have right now. Okay. On the other hand, we also need to consider what are the constraints that we need to tackle, what are the roadblocks, what are the obstacles that we can anticipate in the due course of our journey. And in that, we also need to look at not just the external factors, but also the internal factors. Okay. So if we look at the constraints, resource scarcity, competition in the market, regulations, challenges from the external environment, your own responsibilities that that you have, because of which your time and energy will be always limited. You can't have unlimited reserves of time and energy, right? Even money for that matter. So these are going to be your constraints on the external side. On the internal side, you need to look at your weaknesses. So in that, you need to do your strengths and weakness analysis as well. And you need to also acknowledge that, hey, I am a bit weak in this particular section, in this particular aspect. So in order to achieve this particular goal, I need to overcome my weaknesses, right? Isn't it? So let's say somebody wants to run a marathon at the end of 2026, and they say that I'm still not healthy enough, or I'm still not having enough energy to reach that goal. So that would be a little weakness on that side. And this weakness can be easily overcome by doing your strength training, doing your regular workout activities, cardios and all. And that is where you can overcome your weaknesses. On the other hand, looking at your available resources, what are the existing skill sets and your knowledge base that you can use? Do you have any network of people, of business owners, of other industry professionals that you can use to reach that goal? What is the technology that you can use? What are the systems that you can use? Do you have a group of experts and mentors? Now, these are the external factors. Internally, what are your strengths? Now, for a trainer, they can say that, hey, I have got good communication skills which I can encash upon. Or maybe somebody who has a background of psychology, they can say that, hey, you know what? I understand psychology. I can possibly get into the field of marketing and become a marketing coach by encashing upon the psychology, because I can understand the consumer psychology very well. Now, that is going to be your internal strength. So, something which drives you forward, either internally or externally, that is going to be your strength. And something which pulls you back or stops you from reaching something is going to be your constraint. And now, if we look at all these in connection with the Dilts pyramid, you may need to question that if you're really, really passionate about a goal, about a particular goal, and if there are some constraints with respect to the environment, then is it that you have to accept this and still move and then adjust your goals? Or is it that you are trying to achieve your meaningful and worthy goals in the wrong environment? Because whenever we are surrounding ourselves with people or trying to be in a certain environment, we need to ask whether the environment is conducive and pushing us forward, pushing us upwards, or it is going to drain us out. Now, for example, I would say that long back, the place where I stay, long back, this is something which I'm talking about, which was 20 years back, a multi-cuisine restaurant came into existence there. They were serving all sorts of exotic dishes like pastas, lasagnas, and your raviolis, enchiladas, and all those exotic Mexican stuff. Now that particular restaurant really did not do well, and it not really flourished. It got shut down sadly in the next 2 years. Now, why? Because the owner had a wonderful goal of bringing different dishes to the people. The quality was superb, the taste was superb, but the place where the place where the restaurant was open was not really conducive because the people were not prepared for such kind of cuisine. Of course, now the times have changed. Now we have all these available from Swiggy, from Zomato, and everybody wants is opening up to different flavors of the world, right? Similarly, now let's go to people who have an aspiration of earning a lot of money. They want to become rich. Now, the definition of rich again is different for different people, but they also have a goal of doing good for the society and opening up a social activity, doing some social cause activity. Now, I would like to ask you, are these goals going to be met through a single initiative or at a single place or through a single type of activity? What are your thoughts? Let's put them in the chat box. Let's hear your thoughts. You think a person who wants to become rich and earn a lot of money, have a lot of tangible or physical or financial assets, and they want to also do good for the society, is it possible through a single set of activities? Okay, are people still stuck in the goal setting activity? Because I don't see answers here. Chandra Sharma says, I think no. Okay. Anybody who says yes? Girish Roy says no. Okay. All right. Absolutely. This is not possible through a single set of activities. Now, while saying this, I'm not saying that it is not possible for one individual to do this in a lifetime. It is definitely possible. But then you need to distinguish your goals from one another. And you have to say that some businesses like hospitals could do both. Manoj, possibly, but you will need to have very crystal clear demarcation. Because often what happens, see, I'm also a startup mentor, and just recently I was evaluating certain startup ideas. I was one of the judges on the panel. And there were a couple of young individuals who had come and said that, this is an app for uh, for helping people to avail the services and all so that they can redo well. Now, the question is, if you want to earn money out of that single app, it may or may not be possible, but again your thought process has to be crystallized that way. So an app which needs to be developed for such a cause, but you also want to turn it into a business model and earn money out of it, then you will need to have sponsors with lots of advertisements. Because please understand, the target customer for whom you're developing that app is not going to have the spending potential. So the environment where you're trying to operate for reaching this goal is not going to be the most suitable one, which can make you rich just in a year. All I'm trying to say is whenever you are setting goals, try to understand which values are going to be addressed in that particular goal. Let's say, for example, some people say that I financial freedom is one of the goals, work-life balance is one of the goals, social causes, working for social causes is one goal for some value. For some people, they might say that, hey, you know what, I want to have a top destination designation in one organization where I can show to the people that I have reached the managing director's position. So that could be a goal for somebody, that could be a value. Now the question is, what is going to get impacted while you are going to achieve one particular goal which addresses your one particular value. So when you are going to set your goals, try to see which values and belief systems are you going to have them connected to. And this is something which we looked at in the first place, right? And if you feel that through one particular goal, I can achieve only one particular aspect of my life, only one value is going to be achieved, then you might need to have certain other smaller goals to address those internal desires based on your values. And this is something which my mentor told me, this is something which my mentor told me last some 2 years back, that financial freedom is something which everybody achieves, everybody's striving for, unless They belong to business families where there is a business which is running on autopilot mode. They don't really need to put each and every moment of their life in that. And they just need to manage. And of course, they will need to put in some efforts to make it grow, to achieve operational excellence and have the perfection every single day. Okay. But their resources with respect to time, energy, and emotions, the intangibles, they don't really need to invest a lot because they are already operating on a very strong and stable platform. For them, they can say that, hey, my business is running. I know I'm earning. Now I can really dedicate a lot of my time towards NGO activities, towards corporate or social responsibilities, and so on and so forth. But for somebody who doesn't have any background of business in the family, they have been a working professional, like I'm sure most of you here, and they've said that, okay, I have reached the age of 40, 45. I want to start my own little initiative. I want to be a freelancer. So they will say that, okay, I have certain amount of financial corpus. Now I want to become independent and I'll be using some of my corpus. But then in the long run, maybe after I achieve certain financial level, I will donate something for charity and start a social organization. Now that is how you need to really think about goals. And now let me ask you, isn't it really connected to the project management practices that we follow in the organizations? So every individual actually is like an organization if you really look at things from an analogous perspective. And more so, those people who are freelancers or independent consultants who are not running a business per se, they have to take care of this even more. Because now, okay, now let me ask you a question. How many of the audience, how many people who are present here are in the field of training, coaching, consulting, or any professional services where they have to deliver, they are the product, they can't really outsource it 100%, or they can't really delegate it 100%? Can I have some hands up in case if somebody's here? Renu has raised a hand, so am I. I'm asking this question because I have my personal example to give. Right. So
I
Girish Roy
think
is
one, yeah, Girish Roy is one another person.
Girish Roy is one, yeah. So now people who are coming from different backgrounds, who have different set of resources and constraints, will then be setting their goals in a different manner. And that is why when we hear people in the motivational sessions that everybody should have a goal, you should reach high, you should always think of growth. Now, again, growth is also subjective. For some, growth could be vertical, where they want to reach a certain designation. And for some, there could be a horizontal growth where they're organically growing because they genuinely love to do many things. There are serial entrepreneurs, right? So again, when I talk about your internal ecosystem, it is necessary for you, for every individual, to know what they are at their core. Not everybody wants to achieve the level which everybody wants to achieve, right? Let's say now what happens is, now when we really grow as individuals, when you're fresh out of college, now everybody, I want you to now reflect back. This is another thinking activity that I'm putting you through. Now I'm not sure what are your age groups, but think about how you relate to the life right now. What are your aspirations right now versus what they were when you were fresh out of college? And I can say this from my own example. I did my specialization in the field of marketing. I thought it was the most creative thing to do. But later on, as we start growing in that environment, when we start getting a reality check, there is where we feel that, you know what, I started with something, but I am now beginning to think whether it is really relating to my own internal identity and my values and beliefs. Because sometimes what happens that we may set a goal without thinking of other things, but then later on we feel that, you know what, my values are not aligned. I'm expected to work late nights, but I can't do this. So again, when people think about choosing a particular lifestyle, a particular let's say, a particular profession, it would be a good thing for them to contemplate, to introspect, and see how it fits well within their own internal ecosystem. So Pramod says, right now, doing a job but taking training for becoming a coach. Yes, Pramod, very nice. Mr. Arun says that I'm a consultant. I'm 76-year young. Yes, Mr. Arun, age is just a number. And I've seen many people in my own family who have continued to work till the age of 80, 80 plus as well. So now, Mr. Pramod, he himself said that he's taking training to become a coach. So I'm sure he has seen this values, internal values. Maybe there is some internal motivation to become a coach, right? So you need to check your internal motivations, you need to check your resources and constraints, and then balance out rather than just aiming that I need to reach this. Okay. Any questions so far? Or can we take all the questions at the end? And by the way, if you have any kind of discussions open, if someone wants to really discuss their case, please feel free to put your key points, keywords in the chat box, and we can really have another set of wonderful discussions in the existing time. Because goal setting is a topic which cannot be really put in any framework as such. It is extremely, extremely subjective. And the more you discuss with people, the more you understand people's perspectives, you will be able to enhance yourself better. And just for all people who are into the coaching field, I do understand that I have grown by understanding people's stories and how they have grown in their life. So Claude says the environment can be very unpredictable. Agility is the key. Absolutely. And that is exactly why after the SMART goals, there are smarter goals where you need to evaluate and readjust and redefine your goals separately. Yeah. Now, there's a fun fact here. I just had a chance to browse through a book called Built to Last. Okay. Now, Built to Last typically talks about organizations who have grown in challenging circumstances, but they have had one thing which they did not budge from, that is their core values and their beliefs. Okay. Now, which means that they are extremely clear as to what they can do, what they are comfortable doing, and what they will not do at all. And they have always set their goals according to their values. Now, what happens is, and this is nothing wrong in this because not everybody is, lucky enough to get the right mentor at the right age. But often we set some goals based on what the environment is doing. And I'm sure many of us have made that mistake. Even I've made mistakes. The key is to learn from the past mistakes, and there is where the retrospective aspect comes into picture. What has worked well for us? What hasn't? And that's why in this entire goal setting process, always give enough time to think and to analyze your internal responses. How do you feel about this? While setting a goal, are you too afraid? Or are you feeling uncomfortable? Or are you feeling happy that, yes, this is what I want to achieve in the future? Now, what happens is in today's world, of course, those people who are a part of the bigger ecosystem, they are a part of organizations, they are having their employments, they will have to abide by the organizational policies, they will have to go through the organizational goals and all that. Okay. And of course, that is something that you need to do because you are under their contract. But again, here then you can't really have a lot of flexibility, and there is where you need to be agile. As Claude has mentioned, I think repeatedly, that we need to have an agile mindset, right? So for reaching every particular goal, you need to see what are the alternative pathways that you can set. You always need to have an action A, action B, plan A, plan B, plan C for your work, so that you can very well maneuver yourself and use your own internal resources as well. And believe me, a person starting two people starting from one single point and trying to reach another point, they may have a different thought process. So goal is extremely the same, but the way to achieve would be different. And that is going to be determined by what the person is, what are their skill sets. And to know yourself as a person today, there are wonderful tools. You have got the MBTI profiling, that is a 16 personality test. You've got the Big Five, you've got the DISC profiling. And they talk about your overall temperament, the way you think, the way you are going to put in your energy, and the way you are going to act. Some people want to have everything perfect at the first time, at the first go, which may or may not be good. Sometimes it's not the best thing to do in the today's agile world, in today's VUCA world, I should say. So that's where we need to have an agile mindset. At every step you need to analyze, okay, I am in this journey, I've achieved 10% of what I was supposed to do. How have I fared? Have I compromised on any other aspect of my life? And can I still compromise on this later? And isn't it the case with all us working employees as well, that for a particular project you have sacrificed your sleep, you have been just on 4 to 6 hours sleep because the office demands it, the organization demands it, and all. The question is, will you still be able to continue to do this for another year? No, because then your health goal is going to get completely tarnished, right? Next comes readjustment of your goals or the deadline. So, how we have working in sprints. Sprint talks about working as per in the time box value, depending upon the resource that you have. Similarly, you can readjust your goals. You can either downsize your goal or you can adjust the deadline depending upon the resources. Or in this process, if you have certain activities that you can outsource so that you can focus on your own development, that's fine. Next thing that you need to do is address conflicting situations. Like we said, personal versus professional. We all want to achieve this work life balance. The question is how. And for that, we need to understand stakeholder and time management, which again is a very strong project management concept, right? Now, in this entire goal setting process, ask yourself, along with yourself, which stakeholder are you satisfying? If it is going to be an organizational goal, then you are satisfying your manager, your boss. If it is the goal on your personal front, you are going to satisfy your partner, your parents, your children, your siblings, your family in general. So how do you balance it out? How can you negotiate with either of the stakeholder groups in order to achieve that time management? Or ask yourself, have you set a particular goal because apparently some stakeholder exists in your environment who you think is very important and you just want to impress them, and that's why you have set a particular goal, right? And there is self management, where development of an emotional resilience is very important. Now, I'd like to go back to some conflict management concepts here. In the previous session, we looked at 5 different conflict management strategies and the associated profiles. So let's say a particular person has an avoidant mentality, okay, or a compromising approach to conflict management, or an accommodating approach because they are very soft-hearted, they are very sweet. The entire world looks at them as somebody who can be very very easy and happy-go-lucky and all fine. But the question is, when in project management, in the workplace, you need to have a competing approach because your role demands that, or you are working through a project which has an extremely tight deadline. In that, you cannot have a conflict management approach of being accommodating all the time, because otherwise the project is never going to get met, and the higher goal of an organization is going to get jeopardized in that process. And that is why you need to become tough by accepting that you need to have a competing approach. Or sometimes you may need to have a competing approach at workplace because Your personal front has some challenges. Maybe somebody is ill in the family. You need to give more time to them, right? So self-management and developing emotional resilience of drawing boundaries beyond which you cannot really invest or spend your resources has to be drawn. And one important factor that I would like to talk about here is, okay, and Mr. Arun, before that, let's see what Mr. Arun has mentioned. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Absolutely, Mr. Arun, because sometimes you have to draw a boundary. So a couple of months back, when I was doing a TNA analysis with one of the HR persons, because they wanted me to give a session of and conflict management for leadership development, they told me a very specific need that look, my people may know all the concepts, the textbook concepts of project management and conflict management, but I want them to learn these concepts and get them imprinted in the subconscious about what to do when adjustments become too heavy, right? And this is for your own project work, and sometimes it's for you as well, learning how to say no, right? And now coming to another concept again, which I'm going to relate of project and operations management in the goal setting. Now, what happens is, based on whatever uh, brief our higher ups have given us, let's say, we will have a project, we will complete a project, and then what happens after the project is completed? Either you are going to sell that entire objective, that entire end outcome to somebody where you get all your investments back, or you are going to run your organization's operations and earn revenue out of that, right? So we always have to look at the business angle of it. Now, I'm sure we must have come across multiple situations or multiple examples where the project was done successfully. That means the goal was achieved. But after the goal being achieved, what happened to the deliverable, to the end deliverable? It is just catching dust in the background. Why? Because whatever was made is now no longer useful, or whatever was made is made beautifully. The quality is fantastic, the product features are wonderful, but it is not operationally viable to sustain, because chances are that in the pursuit of making that product and selling it, because of the competition coming in or based on the customers or consumers buying capacity, the object or the product that you have made is extremely costly. And that's why no matter how beautifully the project was completed, you don't have the opportunity to use it anywhere. Or sometimes that now that you have made this project and the company's entire future depends on it, you have to literally do whatever you can to make sure it's a market success. And that is creating pressure on the mindset of people and the organization's owners as well. There are situations which such things happen. And that's why, even while setting the goal, you need to ask yourself, like all the questions which we said before, how is this goal connected to other goals that I'm going to set? Or how is this connected to my other life values? The second important question that you need to ask is, what happens after I achieve this goal? Okay. Is it going to really make me happy, or this goal was just to satisfy my ego or my ambition? Because in this pursuit, you may realize that now the goal has been achieved, but to now maintain that particular status, I am now going to go through a lot of problems and challenges. Now, I have an example to give here. As I said, I'm a tarot consultant. When people come to me for multiple things, multiple questions, like so, there's one regular customer. He came to me and came up with a very unique question. He said, "I want to know which client to focus on," and I know why he came up with this question, because he's dealing with multiple clients. If you want to expand your clientele, you also need to expand your team size. And that is not an easy affair, because taking people on payroll looks like a wonderful thing, looks like, wow, he's having a team of 50 people, she's having a team of 75 people. But the business owner often has to take the load of paying their salaries, right? They're not independent contractors. And for the client, you need to have the right set of people, the right set of resources. So, for achieving a particular goal, you will need to have a lot of investments in place. The question is, so coming back to the question which my client asked, which client to focus on? So I had to ask him questions, and what is your aim of achieving this client? So he says that, look, I want to grow my business. So exactly, to grow business, one needs to have the balancing acts together. And he said that my reason of asking this question is that if I close this client, it will look very good on my portfolio. The question is it going to be easy after the contract is signed? So ask yourself whether after achieving this goal, am I prepared to face what follows? Am I really ready to accept the challenges? Because it may so happen that you want to have onboard a client, but the client's values and your values are not in sync. You may feel that the client will come up and make such demands and put you through a hell lot of trouble, because they will make sure that you go through a grind, and they will have the last drop of your energy till they get the deliverable. So then what you do? For that, you may need to really understand the client first. You need to understand the other stakeholder with whom you want to achieve that goal, and understand whether your values and beliefs, your dealt pyramid and their dealt pyramid is going to match or not. Because if it is going to be too much of a trouble, it is better to not go there before a certain point of time. Maybe you need to have other interim goals met before you can really go to that next step. Like, for example, somebody may have a goal of expanding this team size to 75 from the existing team size of 25. The question is, are you going to manage them in a hybrid manner, or is everybody necessary to be seated in the physical location in all teams together? In that case, you may need to have an interim goal of having an office space so that everybody is comfortable. For that, you will also need to check whether you are at a certain level where you can sustain a team of 75 people, where your payrolls are going to be dependent on them. They are going to be dependent on you for their salary. So they are on your payroll. Yes. And whether you really are going to make use of these resources, not just for one client, but also for the next set of clients. And is this resource investment for expanding your resource base going to be beneficial for the long run? And that is why, if you want to really achieve an overall state of excellence, even your goals need to be set right. You need to ensure that rather than setting up extremely ambitious goals, which might end up burning you out mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, maybe try to achieve small ones and then move to the next. So, growth, then a plateau stage where you are checking the sustainability. So, this is very much in tune with the plan, do, check, and act, isn't it? We all have heard about the Deming cycle, right? So here again, you might want to even implement certain principles of the Lean and the Six Sigma in your goal setting process. And that is what the Agile mindset means. So here you need to also do the risk assessment of what happens after the goal is met. You might want to develop yourself and go into a particular organization to work while being unaware of the fact that how your life will end up. So people usually in their 35, in their late 30s, early 40s will now think, what is it that will be expected out of me? How will my life turn out to be if I take up this particular role? And does it fit with my values? Do I really want to do that? Again, the question will have multiple answers. There is no right and wrong, there is no black and white. There is always going to be an area which can appear gray, pink, blue, purple, or of any color to different individuals, because their lives, life values, their situations are different. And that's what I say. Set your goals according to the resources that you have, the constraints that you have to wait through, and where do you start and where do you end, right? So that day, just 2 days back, I had an opportunity for speaking at a LinkedIn live session on the very same topic, and there I tell that, this was a question which was asked, that let's say there are 10 individuals in the room, and everyone is given a goal, or rather everybody has a goal that I want to make around 2 crores in life, or 2 crores is making 2 crores and having that kind of money in my bank balance is my goal. Now, the question is, will each and every individual be able to achieve it within the next 6 months? Yes or no? No. Maybe one or two might. Yes. Quite a challenge. No. Anybody for a yes? No. Some. Wonderful. Challenging. Absolutely. So somebody who's in the stock market, who has got a sufficient amount of corpus, might be able to achieve that 2 crores in the next 6 months. It may not be difficult because they have mastered their emotions in the stock market. Mr. Alam says not for me. Okay, wonderful. Somebody who is just starting their business, for them they say, no, 2 crores will take around 5 years. Absolutely okay, that's fine. For some people who are going to develop a system where they are developing some kind of content which is so unique that it will be bought, possibly, maybe maybe a product which is having a very low value, but it can go to mass volumes, maybe in another 1 year they can achieve 2 crore, maybe, again. So it all depends upon what activity you are in, what is a product or the service that you're offering, and what is the background system that you have, and what are the other parallel resources that you have which will help you to achieve that goal. So as you rightly said, that no, that some people say that some people might, it is quite a challenge. Most of them say no, and absolutely, those who have said no come from that thought process that it is better to have a small goal stepwise rather to have a very big ambitious goal right in the beginning. And that is a very very stable thought process, by the way, because if we set ambitious goals and if we do not meet them, the level of frustration which is there is very is very very difficult. It's actually huge, and that can further push you down into the negative spiral. So again, while we are trying to set a goal, ask yourself, whom are we trying to address, whom are we trying to satisfy, or is it some sort of internal motivation based on some past emotions or past influences that we are trying to come up with. Yes. And in this process, I just would like to go back to a few messages from Mr. Arun Iyer. He's mentioned low hanging fruit, ready for the whole hog, the good and the not so good. Is there a sink? Does the target revenue meet the outgo? Absolutely. Thank you, sir, for giving so many good, valid points. And I would like to discuss, we can drive our discussions based on these topics now. So while setting our own goals, there can be some activities which can come up and actually be very lucrative. So these are the low hanging fruits where you do not need to put too much of efforts, but you know that the results are going to be there. The question is, are you ready to eat the whole fruit at one go? It can be good because it may give you some temporary energy. It can increase your resources temporarily. But while you are trying to eat that low hanging fruit, ask yourself, are you diverting your focus completely from the main goal that you're trying to set? And now this happens when you're freelancers. Now people who are having this particular aspiration of let's say quitting their job, and people maybe in their mid 30s who are thinking of quitting the job in the next 3 years, or they can be in their mid 40s who are trying to do the same. Often it may happen that the environment may dish out opportunities to you. And of course, when people send you give you opportunities, it is not just that they feel that they want you to do good. Obviously everybody has got some of their interest of their own. Now the question is, here is where you need to ask whether your values and their values are going to match. So whether that low hanging fruit which is being offered to you, is it really going to make sense to you in the long run? Or you will draw a boundary that, okay, anyways, the goal which I'm trying to set, I may not have enough traction. I might need to do a lot of market research and do a lot of pour in some sort of time and energy. And maybe after a year or two, I might even need to invest certain amount, which is going to be available from the low hanging fruit which I'm trying to now accept. So that is fine. But then always keep a track that it should not turn out to be a scope creep. Otherwise, what happens that in the pursuit of going behind that low hanging fruit, you may get so diverted, and you take a detour, and then in that case the detour becomes so long that you ended up in a lost forest, and for you to take a U-turn, it may take a lot of resources, and the time never stops. And so there is a saying, right? The If you enter a wrong train, it is better to jump off as soon as possible, because the longer you remain in the long train, the farther you get, and you are going to deviate and get diverted from your end destination. And of course, for coming back and going, you a lot of resources will be spent, right? And of course, there is where you need to check the synchronization. And does the target revenue meet the outgo? Yes, I think I do understand this statement. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Where business owners are going to ask, I am earning so and so, that's my top line. But in the pursuit of achieving that top line, what is my bottom line? How much do I really have in hand which I can invest and address my financial goals accordingly? If the gap, if it is going to be very less, then maybe it does not make sense. And this is how organizations actually take decisions, right? While selecting a particular project, while selecting a particular goal, it is not just about trying to copy what the environment or the competitors are doing. They will look at how much money has to be spent in, what will be the payback period, what is the net present value, what are the internal rate of returns. Now here they are going to talk primarily based on the numbers, because that is how organizations are going to sustain based on numerical values of the assets. But at your personal level, it is always a good thing to also consider the emotional investment that you need to do. When I was a little girl, I used to think, why do adults always talk about that they don't even have time to think? But now, when I have reached that stage, I understand that thing perfectly well. That whenever we are thinking about certain things, thinking about certain goals, a crucial resource called time is getting invested. You may not put in money, but time is a very important resource. And this is something which our professor in the IIM Lucknow of operations, he said that sitting idle and thinking is also an operation. What comes out of it does not matter, but you're putting in time as a resource, which is an irreversible resource. Time once gone is gone. See, a person who makes losses in business in one particular year can even recover them in the subsequent years. That's okay. But the time never stops. Our aging does not stop. And that's why while setting goals, we need to really, really think about all this. Right? Make sense? Okay. So Renu says, but I think if you start with no, you will not be able to achieve even 1%. Yes. Okay. Thinking big so that some may be achieved. Absolutely. You have a target of, let's say, sales people have a target, sales teams have a target. 5 CR is a target for this quarter, 10 CR is a sales target for this quarter. But then back in the mind, the management team has already decided that, look, let us set a target of 5 or 10 CR so that at least 4.5 CR will be met. Okay. Yeah. Japanese proverb, okay, time waits for no one. So this is how we need to develop an agile mindset. In that agile mindset, we need to look at ourselves, understand which stakeholders matter in that entire goal setting process. How do we need to really manage everything perfectly well? Okay. Any questions so far? Or we can take it later. So here are some do's and don'ts here, right? So whenever you're trying to set a goal, please do not take any actions in an impulsive manner based on some emotions. How many times do we come across individuals who have set extremely ambitious goals, and after a few years, when we ask them, they have fizzled out? So the question is, why was that goal set in the first place? Was it because they were trying to put this up as a facade to hide something which was going on internally? Okay. Do not copy others blindly. Somebody bought a new house, somebody bought a new farmhouse, so even I want to do that. Okay, they have the resources and the means to maintain that farmhouse. Do you have that? No. Because if you buy a farmhouse in some village area, while you yourself have an entire life in the city, ignoring the farmhouse, it will bring disastrous results. Hmm. And again, while setting goals, do not expect sudden results. Always keep a tab on what is happening in the entire environment. Setting ambitious targets, something which we just discussed a while ago, and being under any pressure. Because in the past 7 years, ever since I stepped into this world of independent coaching, consulting, training, we interact with a lot of peers, and we hear statements like, "Come on, now you have started into your uh, zone. You have started independently. Now your aim should be to have at least 10 clients every month." The question is, who decides that? And somebody said that they want to become a coach. So my request to that person, I think, yeah, my request to that person is, follow your own instincts. Do not be under the pressure that, okay, now since I've become a coach, I have to prove to the world, and for that I have to go to the grind and be hungry for as many clients as possible. Because please note that how you deliver to your clients will also depend upon your own personal style. See, there are some people who can be very well comfortable that, okay, I've now become a trainer and I'm ready to work 24 by 7. Some people can do that, others cannot. Now, if you ask me, Mitakshara, will you be able to give an 8-hour session every single day for an entire fortnight? My question is, no, I can't do that. I will need to take breaks. I will need time to recharge, recoup, and even ruminate over some learnings, which I can then churn back, read something more, recharge my batteries, and give back something else. But then for that, I need a break, right? Now, in the beginning, Shikha also mentioned, right, that she's stepping down from the post of vice president even before she could complete her term, because there are some other goals which need to meet. Right, Shikha? I'm sorry, I'm giving your example without your permission,
No,
but I
no,
really wanted to tell
correct.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Shikha has some other goals, and she wants to ensure that she gives quality time, so that there is no compromise on the deliverables that she gives in that area. And that's why she's taken a hard decision of dropping certain goals right now, or maybe parking them so that she can come back later on. So rather than doing everything in an extremely aggressive manner, give yourself good amount time to think of all the do's and don'ts. Why am I doing this? How good will I feel after achieving this? What will I have lost? What is the opportunity cost of setting this goal and meeting it? And this should be based on your own priorities, which nobody else can understand. Yeah. Looking at the big picture. Often we focus so much at one particular thing that we are turning a blind eye to what is happening really in the background. So you need to keep on checking what is happening around us. Is there any more lucrative opportunity or a lucrative pathway that is opening up for us, but we are not willing to listen, willing to take a look? Right, and this again happens based on what kind of a perfectionist you are. So how many Virgos out there in this entire session? A Virgo zodiac, a sun sign, or a Virgo moon sign, or a Virgo rising sign? I'm not sure how many of you believe in kundalis and all, but in my opinion, most of the Virgos are like that, and I'm a Virgo myself, so I can say from my basic example, from what I have learned and the do's and don'ts that I need to follow, that usually some people are so much in that waterfall state of mind that they will be like, no, this is the decided pathway. Now, no other pathway will be considered. But no, this is not something which is written in stone, right? So you need to look at the big picture. See, if you cannot achieve a particular goal using the path that you had decided, can you just close off that path and reinvest your resources in something else? Try to see that. If you're feeling stuck, it is better to seek the support of the right mentors and the right coaches around. And I'm sure PMI has got a wonderful ecosystem where people can interact and learn from each other. So now, since you are all PMP project holder, I'm sure all PMP people are here, right? So all PMP holders, certificate holders, they can really encash on the network and the platform which the PMI has to offer. And last but not the least, follow your own instincts. Because if you really look at things, no matter what the logic says, sometimes most of the times your instincts are correct, which may not make sense at that particular moment, but after 5 years, when you look back, you will say, aha, that your aha moment comes that time, that hey, I took a decision that time, and now it's all making sense, no matter what I had to go through. So always have the balancing act. And some important takeaways: know yourself as an individual, always, right? Because that is how you are going to decide how you will carve out your own path. Let your actions to set and achieve those goals be aligned with the purpose that you have in mind. You need to be flexible in adopting those goals. Don't have rigid goals. And if you feel that a goal which you set some years back is not making sense because it doesn't really feel comfortable, try to think and ask yourself a lot of questions before either continuing with that goal or dropping that goal. And always take care of yourself. And while adopting flexibility, I'm not saying that change your goalposts every single year, because if you're doing that, that means you don't know what your values are. Always stick to your values and let your goals be circled around those. So, I have had questions from people like, how can I be successful in my career? And there are people who don't know themselves what they really want to do. So I have to ask them that, you need to first focus on your belief systems, your values. What does family mean to you? What does money mean to you? What is your definition of happiness, success, growth? And then accordingly you can then set your goals, which may not appear very very uncomfortable, because every time you may be in the pursuit of just grabbing the low hanging fruit without really thinking of the long term consequences. So make sure that while you enjoy the long term fruit, low hanging fruit, you also look at the long term. So it is like having a balanced diet of eating simple carbohydrates which will give you instant burst of energy, while also having proteins and complex carbs which are going to help you build your muscle and improve your health, rather than just eating empty calories. Yeah, so that is how you take care of yourself. And last but not the least, remember, you do not have to be always perfect. Okay, try to have try to rise above the imperfections, try to learn from those imperfections, try to learn from your mistakes, and don't be afraid to make a mistake. Learn from those mistakes, because mistakes are making you strong every time. And with that, my topic is over. Now we can really open for some wonderful discussions. I'm sure people have a lot to say. Yeah. Looks like I've put everyone in a trance again.
So here is one question. I think Dhaval has mentioned. Can we combine personal and professional goals?
Oh, absolutely. I've done that. So again, in personal and professional goals, so there's one question which has come up, right? Okay, Mr. Dhaval has asked, combine personal and professional goals. Absolutely, you can. So then now you need to ask yourself the values. Okay. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more if you already have thought about something? Okay. If not, then let me share an insight over here. We all talk about work-life balance. Now, again, this work-life balance means different things to different people, right? For some people say that, for me, work-life balance is I will work 9 to 5. At 5:15, I'm going to leave from my office no matter what, wrap up my work, and I'm going to focus only on my personal aspects like family, enjoyment, leisure, and my house. Okay, that is work life balance for somebody. For somebody, work life balance is where you're doing something where your personal and professional goals are also being met. So that is where entrepreneurial spirit comes in, and people are saying that, you know what, I want to achieve that freedom, I want to have flexibility. So I can work as per my time frame. So there is where your personal and professional goals are met. This is one example. Whereas some people are going to talk about work life integration, where their hobbies and their professions are going to get combined. Okay. So here is where you can combine your personal and professional front. This may not be easy for everybody, because on your professional front, your aim is to reach that higher designation, your aim is to earn more money. But on a personal front, maybe you want to travel the world, you want to learn through experiences, and through to do that you need to have enough money, which may not be possible because you have no idea about how you're going to do that, because you may not have a business idea in mind, which is fine. So now ask yourself, everybody should ask themselves, and whether that personal and professional goals can be combined. The answer is all subjective. According to me, yes, if you have figured out a way around it. Yeah. Does this answer your question, Dhaval? So let's say becoming rich and professional promotion. Yes. Becoming rich and professional promotion. Absolutely. Now, becoming rich, will it be that again, that rich, that level of being rich is again going to be subjective. It may mean different things to different people. So, if you want to become rich, okay, how will you do that? And whether your company is giving you a very high fat salary for that. If not, with whatever salary you have, is it possible for you to manage your expenses and do a lot of investments in the early years of your life, so that you have got a good corpus and then you have identified a financial consultant, an investment consultant who is helping you in a perfect way to achieve those financial goals? People do that. So, yes, you have got many working professionals who have reached their high uh, designations, professional promotions early in life, and they may have had to sacrifice certain aspects of their life, which according to them is fine, because they have got parental support as well. They've got family support also. That they say, okay, okay, fine, you're still young. Please work as much as you can, reach that level, achieve that financial freedom, and then maybe we can focus on something else. So here is where, instead of having all the goals running in parallel and overlapping with each other, you're trying to say that let two goals run in parallel with each other. Let some goals be pushed to the back burner, where we can start when once you have achieved a certain state of stability. Okay, Dhaval, does it answer your second question too? Mhm. Okay, Mr. Chandra says it's a myth. Why? Work-life balance is a myth. Okay, possibly. Again, the answer is extremely subjective. And the answer also depends upon what kind of environment you're working at. Now, there are certain organizations which have been awarded statuses like great place to work, and that is based on the the feedback given by employees. Yeah, you cannot prioritize everything together. Absolutely, Mr. Chandra. That is where I can agree with you. Yes. And that is why you need to ask yourself. So that is exactly why we did that bullseye exercise before, right? How many goals you need to achieve, at what level you are with respect to each aspect, and what is it that you feel like achieving right now, or at least within the next 6 months, within the next 6 years. So here the goal setting process is not just going to be a linear one-sided activity. It will have to be done in a holistic manner. But in all that, you need to ensure that you don't get damaged in the process. You don't get so drained and so much tired that you do not have any energy or motivation left to follow other goals once when one particular goal is achieved. That's my only point. Yes, Mr. Sharma, does this address your statement? Is it in sync? We need to draw a line between personal and professional goals, though achieving together. Absolutely. Have fuel in the tank. Absolutely, Mr. Harun here. Agreed. You need to have that fuel. Because without that fuel, even if you get completely dried out, if your pipeline is dry, even your ignition will not work then. Plan multiple goals. That's okay. Yes. Have fuel in the tank for the next big one. And there is where people keep on reinvesting their capital, right? This is what companies do. They take the revenue from they take the profit from one particular initiative, invest it, grow that so that they have got enough resources to invest in the next initiative. So now, after this session, how many of you may want to do that bullseye activity again with a lot of thinking after discussing with your own close knit stakeholders like your respective spouses, with your children, with your maybe your bosses? These days, even workplaces have become extremely lucrative with respect to this kind of support through heart to heart conversations. This brings me back to my statement that one very senior person in the organization that I was in said that you should take decisions which are good for you. That looked just like a statement, but now when I really reflect back and I'm trying to connect that with the goal setting and the overall work life balance, work life integration, it all makes sense. You should take decisions which are good for you. And having said that, there was another very senior quality control director, who mentioned that you should leave your ship if it is a sinking ship. Now, I don't say that your organizations are going bankrupt. No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you see the ship is sinking, then you should be prepared to jump onto the other ship while you still have energy. Now, what does that mean? That if you are trying to achieve your goals and you feel that the environment is no longer lucrative, and if you really want to achieve that goal right now, you might need to change your environment. That is what I meant. That instead of sinking in that environment, if you instead of sinking your ship in that environment, try to jump off in the next ship so that you can achieve your goals faster. And that environment is all about the people you surround with, the people who are motivating you, the people who will give you the right guidance and give you healthy criticism rather than just butter polishing you and giving you with empty calories of flattery. Rather, you may need a devil's advocate by your side sometimes, to tell you that, hey, you know what, you may need to change your perspective a little bit. Yeah. So, any more discussions, any more insights, any more feedback, any more reflections of your past where you have done this activity and you really have made some mistake and come out of it, or you really have done a lot of thinking and how it has helped you? Please feel free to share, because I believe in PM Forum, it is not just one person who can shed some light on some things, but it can be shared through multiple insights from different people. So I think we still have a lot of time, so we can focus on this. So we have Pinak Parekh. Why does it feel like achieving goal wasn't really worth it once you get there and look back a few years later? The journey is always interesting. Parts of it you cherish and others you regret. Wow. Mr. Parekh, you've really hit that pain point of many people. And yeah, I know that it feels that, yeah, I've achieved this. But what is was it my achievement because I just felt good, and now I don't feel good because the goal is achieved? So maybe in some aspects, you are saying that you are going to just love the process, but after it is achieved, then it doesn't make sense. So in this case, that is why before you set goals, you really, really need to think about what kind of values are you going to address once this gets completed, right? So sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you just need to go with the flow. And like Mr. Arun Iyer mentioned, that goal possibly, it was just based on some low hanging fruit that you were enjoying. But after that fruit has been eaten completely, you have nothing left to think about. You've nothing left to work. And that's where you need to then have something in parallel which will help you to feel good after it is complete, that yes, I have achieved this. So another insight over here, based on what Mr. Penang said, that you should ask yourself, how will I feel after the goal has been achieved and after I have completed? Hmm? So after my goal has been achieved, will I get bored? Because maybe my enjoyment, my satisfaction was just based on doing something and not on actually completing something. So in that case, if that is your life history, if that is how you feel and think in your life, maybe have a multiple set of activities, right? So that once when you finish one particular set of activities, you can immediately shift to next one. That is one way of thinking of it. I don't have a perfect answer for this, Mr. Penang, and this is exactly where people come to me. I have to really go to that deep level analysis based on some deep rooted discussions one to one. Yeah. So Mr. Manoj Kumar says that when goals are achieved at the cost of others' requirements like family time, then you feel it was a waste of time. Absolutely. Thanks, Mr. Manoj. Yeah. We must consider time and future trend and future tastes when we set goals. Absolutely. And that's exactly why we need to have an agile mindset. And that's why that evaluation and readjustment of goals is required. Because sometimes it so happens that you may have set some sort of goals, you may have had some sort of aim in mind based on some past references, but now the environment is changing in a very fast manner, right? So every time you need to check whether this is going to be relevant now in the future. If it is going to be a technology product, is it going to get outdated? If yes, then whatever Mr. Penang Parekh said, it is definitely going to have weightage. Okay. And same happens with the goal as well. Sometimes you really, really want to take that vacation so bad. After going there, you get to know that, you were planning that vacation spot based on some insights which were given to you in the past, and now the situations have changed. So when you actually go there, you have a very different picture. So your aim of planning for that vacations, collecting money for that, saving up for that vacation and spending it there, only to realize that, hey, this was not what I was expecting. This is just a very short example. Mr. Ayun says, brings us to clarity of thought and deed. Yes, Mr. Arun. It's really wonderful to have Mr. Arun here, because I think one of the eldest persons in the group here, and it's really wonderful to have insights from such senior levels, because that helps us to grow as well. Thank you, Mr. Arun. Thank you so much for bringing us such wonderful thoughts, and others too, for giving us some challenging statements to think about. So, any more questions do we have? Okay, Mr. Pramod Chaudhary. Achieving a goal would always have some positive and negative feelings, as it takes a lot of time, and sometimes we lose smelling a lot of roses on the way, missing out meeting lots of close friends, relatives, and during the process. And if we have really taken a lot of time, and we may miss out on meeting them again, and this can make us feel bad. Absolutely. And that's where, when we talk about work life balance, at least have little moments of time to do what you love. You should not end up missing out on those smaller moments of joy. Meet that friend, like actually catching the elusive butterfly. Yes, correct. And that's why when you have a lot of happiness coaches, transformation coaches, balance coaches coming into picture, they all will have a very common thing to say, that while achieving something, please ensure that you rest and give yourself some time to take care. And this tells me something, that in the due course of goal setting process, don't make your timetables, don't make your schedule so packed. I know that everybody talks about time management being the most productive and all, and in that process you should not rest for a minute. That is not something which maybe the most prudent thing to say right now, because if all of you are working so hard, they're going through a grind, and on a weekend, if you have dedicated some time with your family, or if you have said that, hey, you know what, it's Saturday afternoon, I'm going to watch a movie because I need time to laugh, I need to just take care of my hobbies and interests and doing something that I like. Make sure you make it a task. So your personal wellness also should be a task, because it helps you to recharge and recover, rejuvenate, so that you can do better in the next week. Isn't it right? Can we share time between family and professional time? Yes, you can, and you should. At least 1 hour every day. Now, having said that, in metro cities, it's really possible, because we are all from, most of us would be from Mumbai, and travel takes a lot of time. Travel takes a lot of time, and then that family time can be reduced to only 15 minutes. But then what happens? Make sure you make that 15 minutes laser focused only for your family time. Try to switch off from the social media and give your thumb some rest from the endless scrolling of reels that we are all addicted to these days. Yeah, because family time, sit with your pets. I'm sure all of us must be having pets here. I can say that because I've got a cat. I make it a time to play with my cat at least for 5 minutes in the morning and in the evening. On our dinner table, four of us, our family, like four of us are together, my parents, my brother, and me. And we talk about different types of things, like something which will make us laugh, something which will take us back down the memory lane, going through some old vacation experiences, and so and so, right? Family is the bedrock, absolutely. So, Mr. Dhaval, to answer your question, how much time can we share between family and profession? Again, that is extremely subjective. Do whatever is possible. That is my answer. And if you feel that, whatever time you're giving to your family right now is not sufficient, then you may need to really look at your long term values and make certain important life decisions, which also people take. Like people take premature retirement. They say that, yes, I still have time to retire. I'm still yet to reach 60. I am right now, let's say, there are people in their early 50s who have said, I've got a friend who said that, you know what, it's enough. I've spent enough time for the corporates. But now, given the time I need to take care of my son, he's also giving his exams. I want to make sure I stay at home, take care of my house, enjoy the house that I've built. Yeah. So again, everything depends upon what stage of life you are in, how much have you built, how much you still need to achieve, can you let go of certain goals, and so on and so forth. There is no right and wrong answer. There is no single answer in this. Okay. So we still have 15 minutes to go. And I have shared all my insights on the plate that I had to offer. Any questions from the PMI team themselves, from Shikha, from Renu?
Uh, so, first of all, Mitakshara, this was a very interesting session. And for my, from my own personal growth and professional growth, I have noted down some very key takeaways. Okay. And one thing, of course, I also believe what you said is life is like a project. And when we take life itself as a project, then we start, defining small, small projects to it, and then small, small goals out of that project, small outcomes and all. So one thing I always say, believe in, we uh, have to take life seriously, and when we start taking life in a serious note, then we start thinking about, okay, what should be my goal, what should be my next step, what should be next step, what should be next step. I've achieved this much at this age. Okay, now I'm at this age, I have achieved this much. Now what next? So you should start, keep on, your goals should be revised, as you mentioned in that. You start thinking, okay, now what is the next thing that I want to achieve? So I think that was from my personal point of view, that was my personal takeaway. Maybe someone else can talk about it.
Absolutely. And adding on to this, Renu, very important point. And for some people, they might just have their values as their goals.
Yeah.
You know that, okay, I need to achieve financial freedom. So, financial freedom, family time, and work life balance and health is going to be very, very important for me. So, now in this entire program of life, there will be multiple smaller projects which can serve as low hanging fruits, as rightly Mr.
Mm.
Arun Iyer has mentioned. And for some people, they might say that I'm okay just having low hanging fruits, taking that small project for, let's say, 6 months, closing that, delivering that, and then sharing, using that as nutrition for my next project. Now, that is also okay. There are some people who love to be involved in multiple activities because they're extremely, versatile. They cannot really focus on one particular job or something, and that's fine. Everything, it's all about personal success and personal wellness, after all. So yes.
Very true. So one thing even I always say, like for example, a simple thing like house improvement is always a continuous, project. Something must be will be broken in the next 1 year. Okay, now next to this year, I want to decorate this room in such a way. I want to just redecorate my desk in a certain way. So same thing goes with the life, as I understand. Okay, how do I want now? What the next year? What I want to achieve? So that way.
Absolutely. Just yeah, last year we finished our house renovation project, a year before last actually, and that was the minimum viable product was civil work done, furniture work done, and the painting work done. And
Yes.
now there will be other rollouts, like let's say changing the chandeliers or maybe changing the curtains or something like that, or maybe putting up new paintings and all. So yes, absolutely. So goals can also be having a minimum viable product, that this is the basic that I need to achieve, and after that, let's see how life takes us, and I will not shift from my values and beliefs. That's it. So
Yeah.
whatever
Yes.
comes my way, which
That
is
is very true.
fitting in my framework, I will do that. So some people can think like that. It's also okay.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think if we don't have any more questions, So let's go to the next step over here.
Yes.
And so with gratitude, PMI Mumbai chapter is awarding Mitakshara your nice certificate. So thank you so much for sharing this wonderful knowledge with us. With this sorry. Okay. This certificate would be delivered in a PDF format. So you will be receiving this soon.
Yes.
Now, the next thing I would like to thank everyone. Mitakshri, of course, for sharing this knowledge. Shikha has done a great groundwork for arranging and setting up this particular session. And yes, of course, I would also like to thank our technical support team, Tushar or Sunil, who is helping us with the backend, that if there are any technical issues, they are here to help us out. And the next thing I want to know about this PDUs you will be receiving. Your PDU will be credited into your PMI account within the next few days. And I hope when you have registered, you have entered your correct PMI ID. So if you have entered your correct PMI ID, then definitely your PDUs will be automatically registered. And yes, feedback link is already provided in the chat window as well. But you can also scan over here and quickly, because we are so used to this mobile, you can just scan the QR code and you can just fill in the feedback form. We would love to, hear about it. And I believe some of you, had joined late today. So we will be posting this entire session on the YouTube channel as well. So stay tuned to our YouTube channel. I think that's all from my side. Anything else? If anyone wants to share a quick thing, last moment. Okay, so thank you so much, Mitakshara, for all this wonderful, session. And of course, thank you all, everyone, for their wonderful, people were asking questions here. And also thank you for being a great audience. So thank you so much.
That's very
So,
important.
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you all
Thank
and see
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye. See you next
Bye.
time.
See
Bye
you. Have a
bye.
wonderful weekend, all of you.
Yeah, wonderful weekend. And please, start setting your goals, the smarter goals. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, we can end now, right?
Yeah, we can end.